All right, Celebration Pros, so excited to have you here and excited to have Christine Campbell Rapin in on the podcast today. She is a business mentor and consultant. She's also the owner of Clear Acceleration Inc., and she has a no-nonsense approach to helping business owners achieve consistent client growth by improving client conversation rates. You know, we are all about that. Creative service-based business owners seek her out to create consistently profitable businesses by implementing proven marketing and business strategies and scale to multiple six figures. She has helped over 400 businesses to create $1 billion in revenue. And Christine, we are so thrilled to have you pour some of this abundance into our Celebration Pros today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So can you share with us how you've become not only successful yourself, but an impressive guiding light for other entrepreneurs?
You know, I grew up in the world of business. So I'm educated in business. I have a bachelor's and a master's in business. And so I lived in it, the world. And my career was quite interesting because I started in marketing. That led me to sales and then eventually operations. So I actually know how to connect all the pieces. And that was a training ground. I just knew at some point I would start building my own business. I had no idea what it would be. And it certainly wouldn't be the 3 businesses I have today. But I knew that I would want to create something because I wanted to give back. I wanted to be the kind of leader I thought the world needed and was missing. And so when I started my first business, I kept having people in my community, peers, other business owners saying, like, what the heck are you doing? Because I built my first business alongside a corporate job, a big corporate job. I traveled 40% of the time. I had teenage kids at the time, a husband and a dog, and I built my business 1 hour a day. And it consistently grew. And people kept saying, like, what the heck? Like, I know you're not working 24/7, and I am. Like, what's the difference? And I kept saying, well, I treat my business like a business. And people have heard that. It's like a slogan on a t-shirt. But I actually knew what that meant. I knew what to focus on. And I didn't realize that so many people who come into the world of business, especially creatives, come in because they have a passion or a skill and don't have the business skill set they need. And so they spin and they don't focus on the right things. And I said, well, business is really elegantly simple. And I would tell people what will drive any business, and I will gift it here today. The issue really is that they're like, okay, I get it. It can't be that simple. I mean, I'm hearing it's way more complicated. I'm like, I didn't say effortless. I said less complicated. And then they kept saying, could you help? I was like, sure. And they're like, it might take more than a coffee. So I might need to pay you. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And that's really what gave birth to the mentorship business of Clear Acceleration. Because I was like, I watched my friends, I watched my peers give up on their dreams. And I was like, why? What's happening? And they're like, it's just too hard. I said, it's not effortless, but you're making it harder than it needs to be. And so that actually is how it all started. A business background helped me lay the foundations to help other business owners. And that's what I do today.
I absolutely love that. I 100% back all of that up. Like, that's gold, because it's so true. I did the same thing when I was in my 9 to 5. I would spend 1, maybe 2 hours if I could on this thing now called Celebration Pros. And that's how I started building it. And that's how I started getting that traction and that visibility and that, like, the buzz around it, you know, until you're actually able to turn it into something bigger. So that's amazing. Absolutely love that. And perfect. Okay. So a lot of these wedding pros are creatives, meaning that we run away from anything like IT or numbers. And I think that's a big portion of our businesses that we are, like, afraid of. And so I'm curious, like, what are some non-negotiables that you live by to attract high paying clients consistently? I love that word, consistently. Without having to worry so much about the complicated tech. And maybe this will give somebody a light bulb of why this doesn't have to be so complicated.
Yeah, the first thing I think everybody needs to understand is that two things predict your revenue. Only two. I said, it's not complicated. Two things will predict your revenue: how many people you're meeting and how many offers you're making. And so there's a whole lot of distraction. And yes, you do need to track this. But anytime I start to think that my business might be wobbly, or I'm not seeing consistent growth, and consistency is the key. Anybody can hit a $10,000 month. It is about, can you get there? Can you repeat it? Was it worth it? And what did it cost you? And so what's really important is understanding those are the two things you need to track non-negotiably, because they are the thing that predicts revenue. Most revenue happens over a period of time, often 90-day cycles. So whatever you're doing now is going to predict your revenue in the next 90 days. So stop doing all the distractions and really just only track one thing. How many people am I meeting and how many offers do I make? Because you need to know this, and this is something nobody tells you, but honestly, I told you I'm a straight shooter. Your business will be built on strangers. So you need to know that. And honestly, friends and family might or might not support you, but they're not going to be the consistent revenue people for you. So you have to build visibility. You have to build an audience. And the fastest way to do that in business is to go where there's already people looking for your solution. If you have to create your own market, it's a longer path. You can do it for sure, but you have to have more resources to get there. So I always say, build an audience. Turn it to, like, go into where the audience is, turn it towards you. You need to know what the messaging is for what do they seek as a solution. Nobody pays you because you're cute and adorable and you got great graphics. They buy you into your service because they think you're the best person to get the results they're seeking. So what are the results? And not having the results, what does it cost them? And when you build the audience, you know what they are looking for. You can communicate in that space, and you're clear that the offer is having a positive impact more than the investment cost, your business will move consistently. It is so simple. The rest of what we get distracted by is just noise. And it's hard to focus on the simplicity because the world is telling you, you just have to join a Facebook group. You just have to go social media. Maybe my offer, maybe it's the price, maybe. Honestly, the biggest reason you're not seeing success is either you don't know how. That's a lazy excuse. Knowledge is everywhere. You're doing the right things, but it's not connecting. So doing more of that is crazy. Or you simply say, I want it, but I'm not prepared to do it. And I'm sorry, if you're in that camp, you're a wannapreneur. Nobody's going to build your business for you. And it doesn't matter the speed at which you travel. I love that both you and I said we started 1 hour. I just made the decision that 1 hour is non-negotiable. And I made that a commitment to my kids and to my husband. You guys can go watch Friends for the 1,000th time. I'm going to go build my business. And it wasn't, do I show up today in my business? Was never a discussion in my head. It's, I'm showing up today. What will I do today? I thought, well, two things predict revenue. I've got to meet some people or I've got to make offers. And in order to do that well, I need to go make an audience, talk to people, and I need to be sure that I'm listening to what actually they want to get them moving. And movement is everything. It is something that we talk about, momentum. People want momentum. Well, then stop doing the hokey pokey in your business. Let's just be honest. Stop doing the hokey pokey because you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's the reason you're so exhausted. It's the reason you feel like it's hard work. I committed 1 hour and stayed in it. That's what made the difference to the business I have today. So what's your non-negotiable?
Oh, there's so many like gold nuggets that like it. I love the tough love because it's
with kindness. I mean it kindly. I want you to succeed. Honestly, that's the reason I get out of bed. I want you to succeed.
Well, and I think we don't get that tough love enough. And that's why it's so important to hire a coach or a mentor. Like you're saying, if the people who are engaging with you are your family and your friends, that's not a sustainable business. And that also, just like you're saying, probably means that you're not tapping into the pain points of the people who are going to be your sustainable business and to really get clear on what solutions you have to bring to the table.
And I love what you said, because this is the key. You're not the solution. You're the guide to it, especially if
mhm,
you're in a creative space. Like you're interpreting what they seek, and they have to love it to be a good referral down the road. And
mhm,
so business really is simple. And people said, what makes me great? I never chase the numbers. So this is important for people to know just about me as a personality. I am very successful. I've helped businesses be very successful. The money's not the thing I chase, it's impact. And I said, if three things are happening in my business, I feel great and I know the business comes to me. To me. I don't hunt for it, it comes to me. And that's if someone says, hey, I got your name from someone else. Hey, I've got an idea, because that means I'm thinking with them. I'm not seen as just another X person like everybody else in the marketplace. Or
mhm,
they come to me and said, I want to know what you think about this long term. Because a really great creative is planting the seed that we can do something more than once. So you take pictures at a wedding. What about your first anniversary? What about your 10th anniversary? What about your kid's Christmas? You want to be planting the seed that if you had a great experience, there's a future here. And I said, obviously, we love a new beginning with a client. It's fun, celebrate it. But you didn't close them. Please don't say I closed a client deal. It's an ending. I want to say, I celebrate a beginning, but what really gets me exciting is where will we be in a year, in 3 years, 5
right,
years? And I look at my relationships that way, because guess what? Unlike every other business coach out there, I will tell you, you don't build a business in a nanosecond. Because I said, can you get it? Can you repeat it? Was it worth it? I want you to have the life you want. I don't want you working 100 hours a week. Honestly, did anybody sign up for that? Most business owners that come work with me are like, I'm working a lot. I'm like, audit it. Tell me, really, what do you spend your day on? I'm like, I don't want that long term for you. Do you want it?
right. Well,
Please,
and you hear it's
please say
like,
no.
oh, if you work in something you love, then you never work a day in your life. And wow, I wish that were true. If you're working 24 hours in something that you love, you're going to burn out.
Yes.
And
And if the fear is that you will always say yes because you don't have confidence the clients will be there tomorrow, that
mhm,
creates a spin that's really negative, both for your own energy, but for anybody in your immediate life.
mhm,
It is 100% that I want you to take time out of your business and your business doesn't stall. And this is
right.
an interesting period of time because we're recording this, it's March. I said, business happens in 90 days. Whatever we do now will crescendo into kind of just before the end of the school year for most North Americans. I said, if you don't do great now in the next 90 days, you're in a really dangerous place. And I see it happen every year. It's summertime. I'll take my time off. Guess what? If you take the next 6 months off, you're going to really struggle to pay your Christmas bills. I want you to take time off in your holiday, but I don't want it to be because you don't have momentum. I want you to take it off because you have momentum and you can go, I can take time off. I'm in momentum because I'm always audience building. I'm always visible. And that doesn't mean 24/7. It just means consistently. And there's a lot of great tools that can help you look active while you're, in my case, I'm in the mountains or I'm out visiting friends, or if it stopped snowing, I would be on a patio somewhere. People are like, with perceptions, you're always working. I said, not at all. You need to spend more time in my ecosystem because that's what I want for your business too.
Mhm.
It's
I also
possible.
love that you
And
had
the same.
mentioned longevity because there's two things there actually I pulled. So longevity, you had mentioned prior where building these packages that are lifelong
Mhm.
relationships with clients. And in the wedding world, it's so often that it's another one bites the dust, another one got married, on to the next. And we never come back and touch on that person who, you're right, they're gonna have a baby, they're gonna have an anniversary, they're gonna have any anniversaries. They might have brothers and sisters who get married. And heck, you might even be helping their children get married. And when you're not creating almost that type of like generational package or longevity package, you're constantly chasing new bookings when you have such a great one in front of you.
And your long-term clients already know your value
Yeah.
and they are willing to pay because they want you. It's
Hmm.
a beautiful place to be. And honestly, when I got married 5 years ago, I said the most expensive thing we did other than the venue and the DJ was the photographer. I said, I
Hmm.
want great pictures. I didn't just do a fly-by-night photographer. I didn't pick anybody who had a Gmail address. I picked a professional. They were the best spend I made. And for sure, we would go back, recommend them, retain them. We'll go back for pictures in that part of the world. We did not get married in our hometown. We got married 45 minutes into the mountains and said, this is something that if you hear nothing else in this episode, this conversation, what are you doing to continue the conversation with somebody who already loves you, discovers you, and has seen your work in person? It is the golden opportunity. And you should be asking, would you be interested in having a first anniversary shot? What about your first kid? What's your life plans? Because, you know, you're spending hours with somebody in such an intimate space. Ask them, what's your plan? Document that. Have a good system to track that. And you know what? I will tell you, we chatted this before. Humans need to come back into the business. Handwritten cards are a really big deal. Happy first anniversary. If you guys want some pictures this year, here's what my availability is, and here's how to find me. Put yourself back on their radar. You will stand out in such a way, and I will tell you, every time that you do that, your value goes where? North. You don't need 100 clients, you need 10 really good ones. That's how you can take time out of your business. Great, I've already got contracted revenue. You're getting married again next June. I'll put you in my calendar. Awesome. Guess what also happens? You don't start the month wondering, how on earth am I going to pay my bills? Retained clients are beautiful in the creative space, but you've got to be thinking forward. And this is the piece that all of the technology right now, and I love low tech, and you can make a really big business out of low tech strategies like these. Because I said, remember, AI and all the technology looks backwards based on everything that's come before. Your biggest value in the market is to be the futurist. What's coming? What do I have an opportunity of? You know, I've had these great shots in this part. The leaves are changing. Would you like some fall photos? So you have something for Christmas on your Christmas card. Like, just lead it. Make the choice easy for people. And they're like, oh God, we really should do that. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, last time I had corporate shots, I took them because I had a book coming out. I wanted new pictures. Guess what? I got a new book coming this year. I probably need new pictures.
Yeah.
Who should I go to? If the person who I took great photos with last time had contacted me, I would say, absolutely. Let's book a date. Your business can get a whole bunch easier if you just do simple things like this.
I love this because it's simple. Yes, like we said, you do have to put work into it, but you don't have to put 24 hours of your life every day away from your family and your friends and your dreams and put all that aside, because business can be simple. And like and you had mentioned in the beginning, tracking is once you create a spreadsheet, I mean, it can be as simple as a Google spreadsheet, and you know, it doesn't have to be fancy. No one sees the back end.
Nobody sees the back end but you. You've got to have a way to walk through it that makes sense.
As long as you understand it, you're good. But yeah,
and that's what I said. Yeah, and a lot of people overcomplicate their tech. And I said, don't get me wrong, you need tech, you need some level of it. But yeah, Google Doc works, Excel Doc works, Office Suite works, even a manual thing. But you know, just remember, if you're going to be running your business like I do globally, manual notebooks aren't great because I have to take a step. I do. My husband laughs. He's like, why do you have 7 notebooks? I'm like, they're different things. And I love a great notebook and it's my thing. So I said, you need a good gift for me? A notebook is a great one because I will always use it. But this is the interesting thing. And if you can just think about, you know, and this is what I work with clients with in my coaching business is, you know, if you spent 1 week a month really focusing on the current and the past relationships, and the other 3 weeks really focusing on building that new audience, because the new audience is your lifeblood. The moment you take your foot off the gas about building audience, you will stall. And that's true whether you're a solopreneur or a multi-million-dollar business. I see it right now in the marketplace. I tell you, this is truth just from all the businesses I've helped. 50% of your time, whatever it is that you dedicate, has to be on building an audience. 50%, even if you are successful and you have consistent client growth and you think, I want 5 clients a month, 50% of your time still is required, even when you've got a massive knowledge of who you are and what you offer, because you don't control when they say yes. So you need to always be visible. But if you're growing a business and you don't have consistent clients today, 70 to 80% of your day, whatever hours it is you choose, has to be on this key thing. And I don't mean just posting and putting on Facebook groups. That's not what I'm talking about. It's so much more than that. And I don't mean volume in that, but I mean intention. What are we saying? Why are we saying it? Where are we saying it? You got to be in the right rooms. But everything else that you do, you could drop. And boy, did I just hear they go, oh, really? Really? Please, please, may I? Yes, you can. Because honestly, the only thing that really matters is how many people you're meeting and how many offers you're making. And this is why, we get it. It sounds simple, and it is. You'll retain this for a week and then go, I'm back doing graphics and logos and playing over here, and I'm distracted over here. And that's where people go, I might need to work with you because I'm not very good at this on my own. I said, well, welcome to the human race. I have people in my life that I get corrections on because they say, really, how's your business going? How many new clients have you brought in? What are they doing? What's the beginnings you're celebrating? Where are you going with them? And at the same time, make time to care. It's the biggest golden ticket for your future success. Care. Be gentle with people, support them. And that long-term relationship, especially in the world of this creative space that you have as a community, stop working so hard for new and build your reputation on how you care for the current and the past, because they will open so many doors. And then you're not debating price. You're not debating payment terms. You can hold the line of, this is my value. This is when I have availability. And for those, ancillary type services, obviously special occasions, you're date driven by. But the other group that, you could say, what other kind of photographs do you need? Do we have to do the Christmas ones on this day? No, but I have availability next Tuesday. Or you need some corporate shots, or you want some family ones to send to grandma. Oh, great, I can flex them around my other availability, but you set it. You set your boundaries. And then guess what? There's no more anxiety about, well, how am I going to pay my bills this month?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. That in this industry, depending on where you are geographically, you have seasons. So if you're just grinding, trying to get new leads all the time, you have an engagement season, which is the holidays. Then you go into spring, where I'm in Florida. Spring is like fall and spring is really heavy for weddings. Summer dips, but summer up north is busy for the northern states or the cooler locations. And then you come back into fall, and now we're back in the grinding. And so it's this cycle that is a little different depending on where we're at. But if you have these clients who are continuously booking your services, that those seasons almost fade away a bit. You don't have to rely on a season, and you don't have to feel like the well's gone dry in low season. It keeps things happening more consistently for you.
100%. And it is the goal line. It's not to have a great season. I always tell people, because we hear so much about that mythical $10,000 month. I want to make six figures. And there's a million people that say they can help you there. Well, just a grain of salt, there's 12% of the female founders who get there. It's small. So why are there so many people that say they can help you get there? I don't understand. My logic is struggling with that equation. But I said, remember, it's not about the goal line of a great season or a great month. I want you to have a great business that you can financially support yourself to the capacity of the lifestyle you dream of, and have time to have a life. And you need to get clear about what's that availability, because when you're being strategic about building your audience, in a creative capacity, how many clients do you want to serve? How many dollars per average client do you earn? Profit. Then, do some basic math. And I don't need a calculator generally, but you need to know what's the capacity you have. And when you are concerned and you're running through peaks and famines and you're thinking, I just have to have a good season, it's stressful financially. It's stressful to go, I don't know where they're coming from. And I said, if you can just commit to the movement of staying active on the foundations that grow a business, and you remind yourself to audit and just check into your gut, how am I doing on the basics? Might need to course correct. It is amazing if you stay active and make that non-negotiable, that dream you have becomes so much closer to your day-to-day living. And that is ultimately my goal then when I'm working with clients. And the big thing we start with is the vision. What do you really want?
Yeah.
And usually it's like, well, I can't imagine it yet. And it's like, no, what would satisfy you? They're like, one client would satisfy me.
It's crazy how many people don't know what their vision is. Like
Mhm.
they can't get past, well, I just want to book the first client. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, like 10 years from now, what are we looking at? Where are you? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing?
Yeah. And it's the first
Most
piece I
people
take
don't know.
clients with is I've got to know your vision, because when you're working with a mentor, the key thing is my goal is to hold your vision when you can't. And it's to say, everything we're working toward, does it move you towards your vision, or are you in your own way? Most of us are in our own way pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But then we say, okay, let's just check this. Is the dream really true? Or is it what it should be like based on other people's influences? And say, remember that nobody's coming to save you. And I mean that gently and kindly, because this is your dream. It's okay to say it, to state it, to go declare it, to go after it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's often helpful to hold somebody's hand, because it's scary. It's like, who am I to want that? It's okay to want anything. Honestly, we're so, particularly women, and I'm imagining lots of community and people here are in the audience who are listening are women. We're so easy to give of ourselves to others that often we deprioritize our own dream. And I will tell you, you can't give from an empty well, and you can't give all of you to everybody else so that what's rest of you is your own dream, because you're on a low battery.
Right.
And that's why it's easy to say, I won't do it today. And I said, nope, I made that 1 hour non-negotiable. And I gave my family the right to knock on the door and say, it's been an hour. Come
Right.
out.
Go
And
back.
yet staying in the game made the difference. And now, 5 years into that journey, the business is very different. And I said, this is important too, just as a philosophy, is I don't hunt for clients. And if you're thinking you're hunting for clients and you need leads, please listen clearly right now. That's all toxic. Nobody wants to feel hunted on the other side of the table. Nobody wants to feel desperation from you. Stuck money will never move. I tell people, and I have a Post-it note, and I keep it on my desk, and Post-it notes and permission slips is something I work with my clients a lot around. It reminds me every day, I don't look for clients. I look for problems to solve, people to support, and ways I can contribute. And when I do that really well, guess what happens? My name gets given out. People say, I want to know your opinion. Tell me what it's like to work with you. And I'm attracting the right people. Working with me in my philosophy in business, how do you be successful? You need to attract the people who want what you have and are prepared to invest today. Everybody else is distractions.
Yeah.
Serve the 10 people you really want to serve instead of the 100 who are kicking tires and don't see your value, just see you as comparable and saying, I'm racing to the bottom of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll always feel icky about that bottom if you were the one they chose.
Yeah, I hear this like theme throughout our entire conversation of the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't understand or know of the 80-20 rule, definitely look into it. There's an entire book on the principle. But 80% of 80% of your success comes from 20% of your action.
It is, and you're so spot on, because I give you good props for that, because I always say to people, when I look at my business skill accelerator model, this is what I mentor around. A big part of it is we got to stop what's not working.
Yeah.
A lot of business coaches will come to you and say, this is how you grow a business, and they're one trick pony. Get on TikTok, do reels, do something. It's usually social media driven. And that's what's made them successful, but it's not necessarily what will make you successful. I don't come at business that way, because I've worked in a lot of industries and I worked all around the world. And I said, let's talk about business foundations and not one strategy. But when I do that, I said, I like speaking, networking, and events to attract a high ticket client or a high net worth individual. And the reason I do those 3, all low tech, is because they want experiences. They want to be able to watch, observe, get to know you, see you under pressure for a period of time. Because hello, if you are a wedding photographer, you're going to see the really stressful parts, and they want to know you're the safe space in the storm. So a post on social media doesn't get them that. Just be
Mhm.
clear, it doesn't get them that. And it's not the decision trigger. Experience is a decision trigger. So what can you do to get into experience? But when we're in the model, I'm like, what's the 20% that works for you right now? Start doing more of that. That's always the first foundation piece we build with the success plan we create. And then why does that work for you? We kind of get confidence around it, because my whole philosophy under clear acceleration is get clear. Where are we going? Have to have a roadmap. Doing action is how you gain confidence. You can't imagine it. You have to do it messy. And once you're confident, that is how you get results, because you lead the offer. You lead the result. You're the lead guide to the person who invests with you. I said, you know what? Stay in the 20%. And what's the 20% that works for you? Some people are like, I really don't want to ever pick up the phone. Okay. But how are people have confidence to spend $10,000 on a wedding package with you?
Right.
I get it. It might not be the first thing you do, but at some point you're going to be eyeball to eyeball with these people.
Mhm.
You're probably being very weird, uncomfortable places because you're helping them with their clothing and intimate things to make them look good. So, bring your
Put on a
humor,
garter or
bring your
two.
personality to the conversation, and just remember they're human too. And that's the very biggest emotional place. You
Mhm.
have to create safety, and you have to be the human, but do what's working in your business. And if you're not sure what's working, then you need to work with somebody to help think that through. And part of the reason maybe you don't know is because you're not in enough activity. You're in a lot of what if in your brain. And that's okay. We all start there, but action is a cure to every limit belief you have. Simple.
Yeah.
Do
No,
something.
this is great. This is amazing. Well, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And this one, I think, especially coming from you, will be a little powerful. So, if you could go back when you started Clear Acceleration, when you started your program, what's one thing that you would do differently in starting?
I think the thing that I was always aware that my business was built on strangers, but the thing that I let wait too long was prioritizing owning the conversation and the emails and the contact details. So, I am on social media. I have a very big reach on the platforms that I'm active, but the vast majority of them, I probably don't have a way to contact other than through the platform.
Right.
That's a very high risk. And I wish, even 3 years into my business, I wasn't really consistent and intentional about capturing their contact info. And that has for sure hurt my business growth, because somebody isn't ready to make a decision today. I have to have a way to open that door again.
Right.
But
Yeah.
to be clear, you rent space on social media, and the algorithm is the landlord who is always changing the rental terms. You can be active on social media, but you must bring the conversation offline. If your business got shut down, and it happens, trust me, I get these calls all the time. Christine, what
So
do I do?
often.
You're screwed. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to tell you. Right now, we need to get back to the foundations and build from zero. It's sucky. It's so sucky. Have a cry. It's gonna hurt hard. But if I lost my business tomorrow, I know exactly how to reconnect to people through my email list. And I nurture my email list because I know the people that are on it see value, but they're still in the back row. Most of the people who you will serve are not ready to decide today unless there's a crisis. So what are
Mhm.
you doing to nurture them? You need to own that ecosystem. And in my business, I waited far too long to own that ecosystem. And I got caught in the early days thinking I would chase the vanity metrics. And I just was talking about this on Instagram yesterday. Likes and followers do not translate into clients. 98% of my clients who chose to buy with me and invest in my services have never liked or commented on my social media,
Mhm.
ever. Why? Because it calls them out as a gap they don't want to publicly acknowledge.
Yeah.
So don't get chasing the vanity metrics, and don't think, well, I'll just trade links with people, or all of my network is my peers, because your peers are not your clients. Hello, I'm going to say that again. Yeah, if everybody in your network is another photographer, they're not your clients. Be careful who is in your room. You need to own the email, phone number, write the handwritten cards, get addresses if you can, so that you can control that. Because if you ever needed to zig or zag in your business, you have a way to launch quickly
Yeah.
and offer to an audience that already knows you. And social media is a dangerous platform because you do not control it. And many things that we do right now, I see it all the time, are in breach of terms. If you're automating posting, if you are buying lists, if you do any of that, autoresponders, you're breaching the terms and conditions. You could get ejected from the platform in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Play the risk, sure, if you want to, but what will you do if you have to start over? That email list is my biggest regret looking back for what I wish I'd done when I started. I'd be further along if I had paid more attention to that in the
I
beginning.
love it. I love it. It's true. And your email list, there's an unsubscribe button, right? And so the people who are on your email list, they're the ones who want to hear from you. They could opt out at any time, but they don't. They love seeing you in their inbox every week. And eventually something you say is going to stick. How often do we hear something and it's not until like the 10th time that we're like, oh, I knew that.
It's so true.
Like it's the first time.
It's so true. And part of it is because, it's not that they don't trust you. Like they're still in your ecosystem. That means they still trust you. They still are curious about what you say. Their biggest gap is they don't trust themselves to make the decision.
Ooh,
So
I
keep
like it.
warming them up. And I said to people say to me all the time, I knew I would hire you. And I'm like, well, what's going on? We talked about this a year ago. Like, I wasn't ready, but I've watched you grow and I've watched me stay the same. And I'm done with the excuses. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Let's start.
Let's do it.
No judgment. Let's start. But they're the same with you. So remember that.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, we're going to do just some really quick and fast Q&A before we end here, just to get to know you a little bit more. Who is your favorite go-to mentor?
I have a really good friend. We don't even know how we met. She lives halfway around the world. I've never stood in front of her person to person, but her name is Elle Nagy. She is a mentor for me because she doesn't believe in fear. And she reminds me when I get in my own way, why are you playing with toddlers when you should walk with giants? And that's not about income. It's not about rooms. It's just about owning your own value. And she reminds me it's always uncomfortable. And I love her for it because she's the safe space to challenge me saying, you're dreaming too small.
Yeah. Shout out to Elle. Yes, I love that. Beautiful. Okay, if we were meeting up in 1 year to pop a bottle of champagne, what would we be celebrating?
Life. Here's my philosophy on champagne. You should always have some in your fridge, and life is a special occasion. So I have napkins and things like that. If champagne's not on your radar, we can't be friends. So I will tell you, celebrate everything. Celebrate the conversation that you had with a new prospect. Celebrate meeting a friend for lunch. Celebrate talking to a stranger for the first time. These small things are what build the momentum, not the end goal. So I would say if we were meeting, I'd say, you know what? It's Tuesday and we're here.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Champagne is like
Essential.
the brand. You can't see it right now, but I'm wearing a Pop Fizz Clink shirt. Like I think exactly in that way. You should have something, you should notate down every day something to celebrate. It can take you out of being stuck. When you do that. Yes, 100%. Okay, so where can our listeners find you, Christine? And what do you have coming up?
So I would find me on my ecosystem. Easiest place is my name, ChristineCampbellRapin.com. You'll find all kinds of resources there. Events that I run, events that I'm part of. You'll learn more about my programs and services. You'll listen to podcasts and videos. It is the ecosystem. And I will tell you, this is a hint. You should have one of your own, have an ecosystem so that you can bring people to. And I invite you to come explore at the level you're at, but take action from something you see, listen to, or have the opportunity to attend, because getting in the right room is the accelerator for your business. And I'm curating rooms for you to be part of. Take the invitation and be there.
I love it. Well, Christine, thank you so much. There are, again, so many sweet spots in this podcast today and in this conversation. I appreciate you just endlessly. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here.